What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're making NuttiKrust Tart. Now the reason why it's called NuttiKrust Tart is because you're using these NuttiKrust cookies as your base. Now if you're living somewhere where you don't get NuttiKrust cookies, it's a caramelized crunchy oat biscuit. So let's get started. So here's what you're gonna need. I've got 300 ml of milk, 600 ml of water, 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 whole can of condensed milk, 2 boxes of the NuttiKrust cookies. You might need a bit more or a little bit less depending on the size of your dish. They're always good with some tea or some coffee just like that as well, so they will definitely not be wasted. Then I have 165 milliliters of custard powder. If you want to know what custard powder looks like, there it is. And then you're also going to use 250 milliliters of fresh cream. So to start with, in a pot on the stove on, medium heat, we're just going to bring the water and the milk to boil. Now a quick little hack, I pre-boiled the water and I am just going to pop the milk into the microwave for 2 minutes just to get it up to heat, otherwise it's going to take quite some time to heat on the stove. We're just adding in the milk and we're adding in the water. We are also adding in the tin of condensed milk. So we're just going to slowly bring that to boil, and then we are going to gradually introduce the custard powder into that mixture. You're not allowed to laugh at my pots. I do have other pots, but I have to be honest with you that these very old pots, they still work the best. I don't know why, but I do my best cooking in these. So that's heating up. You can see the bubbles starting to form and some steam starting to come off the milk. Now we're just going to start introducing the custard powder slowly and just keep whisking. You have to keep on whisking. If you don't keep on whisking, you run the risk of forming lumps. So just keep stirring, just keep stirring.
Just keep swimming.
You're going to stir and stir and stir, and then all of a sudden it's just going to thicken up. And the moment it thickens up, you're done. Take it off the heat. See, all of a sudden the bubbles start disappearing, and I can feel that it's thickening up a bit. Now that's thickened up very nicely. I'm going to turn off the heat, remove it from the heat. And now we just want to let this cool down for a few minutes. You don't want this boiling hot into the cookie tray, so just let that cool for a while. Okay. I use a normal oven dish. You're not going to bake anything, so you can really do this in any dish that you have, because this is just going to go into the fridge after it's cooled down. But this is the perfect size, for me at least. And then we're going to take our NuttiKrust cookies, and this is the fun part, because you're going to be layering it like you're doing a lasagna. It's like a sweet lasagna. You're taking the cookies and layering them in the tray. You're definitely going to need 2 boxes of the NuttiKrust cookies. It's a 200 gram box, so all in all 400 grams of cookies for these. Inside of each of them there's 2 of these reams, and you will be using almost all of it, so don't eat these while you're busy with it. And there you go. And now that your custard mixture has cooled down just a little bit, you can take half of this mixture and pour it over the cookies. So you don't want this to be completely cold, you just wanted it to cool down just a little bit. Once you've poured over one layer, you can add another layer of cookies. As you can see, this is really sweet. So if you are just a family of 2, I would not recommend eating this in one sitting. Definitely a bigger family gathering, because everybody gets about a block that size. Maybe you've got some friends over, you're doing some coffee and tea. This will be perfect for that. And now we are doing the last layer of the custard mixture. So now that you've done your lasagna layer, you can push this aside and just let it cool down a little bit more before you put on the cream. Fairly simple, with a little bit of elbow grease. We are going to take the cream, just pour that into a mixing bowl. You probably have an electric mixer at home or one of those zir thingies like my wife likes to call it. But if you don't, you can also just do this by hand. You've got the 1 tablespoon of sugar, and then we're doing 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence, but you can also use caramel essence instead. Let's give it a mix and then just whisk away. There you go, it's starting to thicken. Look at that. Now that you've thickened up the cream and it's absolutely perfect, we are going to spoon this over gently. And that, my dear friends, is it. It is literally as easy as that. This is going to go into the fridge 2 to 3 hours just to let it set a bit before you start cutting it. If you cut this right now, it'll just melt apart, and then you're ready to dish. I'm going to cover it with some cling film. Yes, some of the cream is probably going to stick to it. If you've got a better way, you've got a dish with a lid, much better. Just don't put it in the fridge uncovered. This will last in your fridge for a while because all that sugar, again, don't eat this all at once. So what do you think? Give the recipe a try. I promise you, your friends, your family, and your tummy will thank you. I'll show you what this looks like after it's set for a bit. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you like this recipe, give it a thumbs up, consider leaving a comment, subscribe for future content, and I will see you in the next one.